My name is Robert Williams, retired officer from Chicago Police Department. Wednesday morning, I went to doctor. Secretary was shocked. She asked how I was there. She said computer showed me as dead. I said impossible, but system records showed I had died. Death certificate was official. Bank accounts were frozen. Credit cards were canceled. Insurance compensation had been paid. Even death announcement was published in newspaper. This was nightmare. I worked in law enforcement for 28 years, saw identity theft cases, but this was different level. Someone had systematically killed me on paperwork. But why? Who had access to this sensitive information? That night, I started researching. Truth was much darker. This story began in April 2024. I live in north side of Chicago. I'm 63 years old. I'm married, have 2 adult children. Sarah is 45 years old, lawyer. Tommy is 42 years old, engineer. My wife Linda is elementary school teacher. We have nice house. My pension is good. We live quiet life. I do gardening, read books, spend time with grandchildren, living normal retirement life. I worked at Chicago Police Department for 28 years. Started as patrol officer, then became detective. Spent last 10 years in economic crimes unit. Fraud, identity theft, cyber crimes. I specialized in this area. Saw thousands of cases. Encountered all kinds of fraud. As technology developed, criminals developed too. But I had never encountered such sophisticated operation. That Wednesday morning, I went to doctor for routine checkup. 6-month checkup appointment. I had appointment at North Shore Medical Center. I've been seeing Dr. Williams for years. He's reliable physician. I went to reception at 9:30. I know Secretary Betty. She's been working there for 5 years. She's cheerful woman. Betty looked at computer screen. She frowned. She examined screen again. She looked at me strangely. She said, "Mr. Williams, system records show you as deceased." I said, "What do you mean dead? This is impossible." She showed computer. Robert Williams. Death date March 15, 2024. Today was April 23rd. System had been showing me dead for a month. At first I thought it was system error. Technical problems happen. Database corruption, data entry errors, software glitches. But Betty seemed very serious. Hospital records were comprehensive. I had detailed file. Death certificate, autopsy report, everything was proper. I talked with Dr. Williams. He was also surprised. "Robert," he said, "this is very strange. Medical records were accurate. Cause of death was written as myocardial infarction, heart attack, but I was perfectly healthy. In my last checkup, everything was normal. Blood pressure, cholesterol, electrocardiogram, everything was fine. When I left hospital, I was confused. I sat in car and thought, this couldn't be mistake. Too detailed, too official. Someone had deliberately killed me bureaucratically. But who and why? I decided to go to bank. I had account at First National Bank. I've been customer for 30 years. I knew branch manager Jennifer Martinez. She's a reliable woman. Our relationship had always been good. When I entered bank, I tried automated teller machine. Card declined. ATM screen showed invalid car message. I went to customer service. Teller was young woman. Her name was Amanda. I showed my identification card. Amanda searched on computer. Her face changed. "Sir," she said, "account holder is marked as deceased. Account is frozen. No access." She asked when I died. I said I didn't die. "I'm here. You can clearly see." They called manager Jennifer. Jennifer knew me, but looked shocked. "Robert," she said, "system has death certificate. Beneficiaries have been notified. Life insurance claim has been processed. This is very serious situation." Jennifer showed computer screen. Death certificate was official document. It came from Cook County Medical Examiner. It looked signed, sealed, legitimate. Death date was March 15. Location was my own home. Cause of death was cardiac arrest. My neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, was written as witness. This was impossible. On March 15, I was home, but I hadn't died. I was watching television. I had dinner. I talked with Linda. It was normal evening. I also talked with Mrs. Peterson that day. She was watering flowers. We had friendly chat. Jennifer was sympathetic, but had to follow protocol. Death certificate was legal document. Bank policy was clear. Deceased person's accounts get frozen. Family members start a state process. Court orders needed for reactivation. I returned home confused and frustrated. I told Linda about situation. She was also shocked. Honey, she said, this must be mistake. Official error. It could be rectified. But I knew from my police background that this level of documentation wasn't mistake. It was deliberate act. That evening I started researching. I did name search on internet. Robert Williams' obituary was published online. On Chicago Tribune website. It was detailed obituary. Born 1961. Police officer 28 years. Survived by wife Linda, children Sarah and Tommy. Memorial service completed. Donations requested to charity. This was surreal. I was reading my own obituary. Details were accurate. Dates, names, everything correct. It was professionally written. Even family member quotes were there. Linda's statement, loving husband, devoted father, dedicated officer. But Linda hadn't given such statement. I tried to log into Social Security Administration website. Account access denied. Deceased individual. Benefits terminated. Medicare coverage stopped. Everything was systematically shut down. I called credit card companies. All account closed. Death notification received. Automatic termination process. Utility companies, same story. Electric, gas, water, phone. Everything will be disconnected within days. This was nightmare scenario. Being administratively dead. Not existing from paperwork perspective. Completely erased from financial system. Legal limbo. It was ultimate form of identity theft. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind was racing. Police instincts had been activated. This was sophisticated operation. It required inside access. Government databases, medical records, financial systems. Average criminal couldn't do this level of coordination. Next day, I went to City Hall, to Vital Records Department. I requested original copy of death certificate. Clerk was helpful. She did database search. Robert Williams' death record found. Issued on March 16th, one day after alleged death. I examined certificate carefully. It had official seal, medical examiner signature, file number, case number, everything proper. But detecting forgery requires trained eye. In 28 years of police work, I had learned document analysis. Under closest examination, signature looked suspicious. Ink slightly different. Paper weight not consistent. Subtle differences, but noticeable to trained observer. This was sophisticated forgery, but not perfect. I went to medical examiner's office. I made appointment with Dr. Patricia Coleman. She's been medical examiner for 15 years. Professional, thorough, respected. I wanted to discuss this case. Dr. Coleman reviewed file. Robert, she said, this is very unusual situation. Death certificate looks authentic, but you're clearly alive. Could be administrative error, but that's rare. Medical examiner office follows strict protocols. We checked file contents together. Autopsy report was detailed. Body examination findings. Tissue samples. Toxicology results. Everything consistent with cardiac death. But I hadn't had autopsy. This was either different body or completely fabricated. Dr. Coleman was concerned. This is potential fraud case. Might need police investigation, she said. But I was retired police. I couldn't open active case. Had to go through proper channels through current department. I went to Chicago Police Department downtown headquarters. I still had contacts in Economic Crimes Unit. I talked with Detective Sarah Martinez. Sarah is good detective. Smart, thorough, trustworthy. We had collaborated on multiple cases. Sarah listened to situation carefully. Robert, she said, this is complex case. Identity theft, but next level. We could call it administrative murder. Sophisticated operation. Might need federal involvement. Sarah started preliminary investigation. Database queries, cross-references, timeline analysis. She started tracing digital footprints. Who had access? When were changes made? Which systems were compromised? As investigation progressed, pattern emerged. Changes have been made during administrative hours, after business hours, on weekends, during scheduled maintenance windows. Someone from inside had systematic access. Sarah's team analyzed network logs, internet protocol addresses, user accounts, access times. Digital forensics team got involved. They found suspicious activity. Multiple systems accessed by a single user account. Timing consistent with death certificate creation. User account belonged to Margaret Foster. She worked at county clerk's office. In vital records department. 20 years experience. Access to death certificates, birth records, marriage licenses. Trusted employee. No prior disciplinary actions. Background check revealed financial problems. Margaret recently divorced. Alimony payments. Credit card debt. Mortgage underwater. Child support obligations. Financial pressure is classic motivation for white-collar crime. Surveillance started on Margaret. Discreet observation. Track her activities, contacts, financial transactions. Pattern analysis. Look for accomplices, money trail, additional victims. Margaret's bank records were subpoenaed. Large cash deposits in recent months. Consistent payments. Always cash. No checks, no transfers. Trying to avoid paper trail. Classic money laundering behavior. Investigation expanded to find Margaret's customers. Who was paying for fake death certificates? Criminal organizations? Insurance fraud rings? Individual scam artists? Network was potentially vast. Undercover operation was started. Detective posed as potential customer. Made contact with Margaret through intermediary. Arranged meeting. Discussed available services. Recorded conversations. Margaret offered comprehensive identity alteration services. Death certificates, birth certificates, social security number changes. Complete identity package. Price $50,000 per person. Guaranteed government database updates. This was sophisticated criminal enterprise. Margaret was abusing her inside position. Government access was extensive. Multiple agency databases. Cross-platform coordination. Very profitable business. Arrest warrant was issued. Federal Bureau of Investigation got involved as federal crime. Wire fraud, mail fraud, identity theft, government corruption. Multiple felony charges. She faced serious prison time. Margaret was arrested at workplace. Surprised, didn't resist. Office was searched. Computer seized. Files examined. Evidence collected. Other employees questioned. Full investigation launched. Computer analysis revealed extensive customer list. Hundreds of fake identities created. Millions of dollars revenue. Criminal network was nationwide. Margaret was part of larger organization. My case was just beginning. Margaret was offered plea bargain for cooperation. Reduced sentence in exchange for information. Help catch bigger fish. Expose entire network. Margaret accepted deal. She provided full cooperation. Named accomplices, revealed methods, identified customers. Information was valuable for broader investigation. Justice Department was grateful. Restitution process started for my case. Identity restoration is complex procedure. Multiple agencies, coordination. Government databases correction. Financial accounts, reactivation. Credit restoration. Process took 6 months. Paperwork was extensive. Legal documentation. Court orders. Official rectification. Slowly, bureaucratically, I came back to life. Margaret was sentenced to federal prison. 5 years incarceration. Financial penalties. Restitution payments. Professional license revoked. Career destroyed. Justice was served, but damage was extensive. Other network members were prosecuted. Domino effect. Conspiracy unraveled. Hundreds of victims identified. Nationwide scandal. Government procedures reformed. Security enhanced. My identity was fully restored. Bank accounts reactivated. Credit repaired. Social security resumed. Medical insurance reinstated. Financial damage was minimal long-term. Experience was traumatic but educational. I learned about vulnerability of government systems. How easily identity can be manipulated. Importance of vigilance. Need for better security protocols. Now I speak at conferences. Identity theft awareness. Government security issues. Help other victims. Share experience. Educate public. Prevention is better than cure. Margaret's network was completely dismantled. Hundreds of victims compensated. System vulnerabilities addressed. New security measures implemented. Stricter access controls. Better audit procedures. Justice ultimately prevailed. Truth was discovered. Criminals prosecuted. Victims compensated. System improved. Rule of law maintained. Democracy protected through proper investigation and prosecution. My police training was valuable. Investigative skills, knowledge of system, contacts in law enforcement. Without these advantages, resolution would have been much harder. Average citizen is vulnerable. Linda was proud of my determination. Children supported investigation. Family unity was important during crisis. Community rallied. Friends were helpful. Social support was crucial for recovery. Today, life is normal again. Bank accounts functional. Credit restored. Government records accurate. Identity secure. Lessons learned were valuable. Shared experience helps others. Prevention is now priority. Identity monitoring services. Regular credit checks. Government database verification. Alert systems. Proactive protection. Can't prevent all fraud, but early detection is possible. Margaret's story is cautionary tale. Financial pressure is dangerous. Ethical boundaries are important. Professional integrity is essential. Crime doesn't pay ultimately. Justice system works when given chance. System is now stronger. Vulnerabilities addressed. Security enhanced. Audit procedures improved. Access controls tightened. Other potential criminals deterred. Public is safer. Investigation set precedent. Future cases are easier. Procedures established. Interagency cooperation improved. Federal coordination enhanced. Law enforcement is better prepared. Recovery is complete. Identity restored. Justice served. Lessons learned. System improved. Public protected. Democracy strengthened. Rule of law upheld. This experience showed me how fragile life can be. How paper document, computer record can erase person's existence. But I also saw power of justice system. With right approach, determination, cooperation, even most complex crimes can be solved. Now I'm much more careful about identity security. I protect my personal information. I do regular checks. I take immediate action in suspicious situations. This experience was painful but educational. I work to prevent other people from experiencing same situation. The investigation revealed a network that had been operating for years. Margaret Foster was not working alone. She was part of a sophisticated criminal organization that specialized in identity manipulation. They had clients ranging from people trying to escape debt to criminals wanting to disappear completely. The organization operated like legitimate business. They had customer service, pricing tiers, quality guarantees. Basic death certificate cost $25,000. Complete identity package including new birth certificate, social security number, driver's license cost $50,000. Premium service included relocation assistance and ongoing support for $100,000. During the investigation, authorities discovered that Margaret had accomplices in multiple government agencies. Someone in Social Security Administration, someone in Department of Motor Vehicles, someone in Internal Revenue Service. This level of infiltration explained how they could make changes across multiple systems simultaneously. The case became federal priority. Multiple agencies coordinated investigation. Federal Bureau of Investigation led the effort with support from Secret Service, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and various state agencies. International connections were also discovered as some clients were foreign nationals seeking American identities. Trial lasted 6 months. Evidence was overwhelming. Digital forensics revealed detailed records of transactions, communications, and procedures. Margaret and her associates tried to claim they were helping people in desperate situations, but prosecution proved this was purely profit-motivated criminal enterprise. Sentences were harsh. Margaret received 8 years in federal prison. Her main accomplice in medical examiner's office got 7 years. Social Security insider got 6 years. Total of 15 people were convicted in connection with the scheme. Victims' stories were heartbreaking. Many elderly people have been declared dead to steal their estates. Veterans had their identities sold to illegal immigrants. Children of deceased parents discovered their inheritance had been stolen through fake death certificates. My case became poster child for identity protection legislation. Congress passed new laws requiring additional verification for death certificates. Government databases were upgraded with better security protocols. Cross-agency verification became mandatory for major status changes. Recovery process was complicated. Even after criminal conviction, bureaucratic machinery moved slowly. Each agency had its own procedures for correcting records. Some required court orders, others accepted sworn affidavits. Few demanded physical presence with multiple witnesses. Insurance company was particularly difficult. They had paid death benefit to Linda and wanted money back. Legal battle lasted 2 years. Eventually, insurance paid additional damages for emotional distress and inconvenience. But stress on family was enormous. Media attention was intense. Local news, national television, newspaper articles. Some coverage was helpful in warning public about identity theft. Other coverage was intrusive and sensationalized. Privacy became precious commodity during this period. Support groups were a valuable resource. Meeting other identity theft victims helped normalize experience. Sharing strategies for recovery, comparing legal approaches, providing emotional support made difference. I continue participating in these groups today. Technology improvements resulted from investigation. Government agencies implemented better authentication systems. Database access became more restricted and monitored. Regular audits were mandated. Employee background checks were enhanced. Financial institutions also improved security. Death verification became a multi-step process. Automatic account freezing was replaced with graduated response system. Customer notification procedures were established. Recovery protocols were streamlined. Public awareness campaigns were launched. Identity protection services became more popular. Regular credit monitoring became standard practice. Social media privacy education increased. Government transparency about security breaches improved. My speaking engagements multiplied. Police academies, security conferences, senior citizen groups, business organizations. Message was always same. Vigilance is key. Early detection saves time and money. System can be fixed when people work together. Research into Margaret's background revealed childhood of poverty and abuse. Talented student who could have succeeded legitimately. Financial pressure from divorce and custody battle pushed her toward crime. Personal responsibility important, but social factors also contribute to criminal behavior. Rehabilitation programs in prison help some convicted defendants. Education about financial management, stress coping mechanisms, career alternatives. But recidivism rate for white-collar crime is relatively low anyway. Most offenders don't repeat these sophisticated crimes. International cooperation became necessary as investigation revealed global connections. Some fake identities were used for human trafficking, others for money laundering, few for terrorism financing. This elevated case to national security priority. Legislation was updated to address technological vulnerabilities. Digital signature requirements were strengthened. Audit trails became mandatory for all database changes. Interagency communication protocols were improved. Whistleblower protections were enhanced. Training programs were developed for government employees. Recognition of social engineering attacks. Proper procedures for handling sensitive requests. Reporting suspicious activities. Ethics training became more comprehensive and regular. My relationship with law enforcement remained strong. Consulting work on similar cases. Training new detectives on identity theft investigation techniques. Serving on advisory committees for policy development. Experience became a valuable resource for others. Family bonds strengthened through crisis. Linda and I became closer. Children learned importance of family support during difficult times. Grandchildren heard stories about persistence and justice. Legacy became teaching tool for next generation. Community response was overwhelmingly positive. Neighbors offered support during investigation. Local businesses provided discounts during financial difficulties. Church congregation prayed for resolution. Social connections proved crucial for emotional recovery. Legal system worked despite flaws. Prosecutors were dedicated and thorough. Judges were fair and knowledgeable. Defense attorneys did their jobs professionally. Jury deliberation was careful and conscientious. Justice prevailed through proper process. Today, I am grateful for experience despite pain it caused. Learned about resilience, discovered inner strength, appreciated family and friends, understood importance of civic engagement. Every crisis contains opportunity for growth and service.